Breaking tonight, the man tasked with investigating foreign interference quits the job. David Johnston resigns after weeks of political pressure. What changed and what now? Classified U.S. documents from the bathroom to the ballroom, where Donald Trump allegedly hid some of America's top secrets.
It's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax.
A terrifying wall of fire in BC puts thousands on the run.
I really don't want to lose my home.
Do you need some help?
And the toll the wildfire is taking on Canada's kids.
Last night we were up for an hour and a half. He was just having night terrors.
This is The National with Ian Henemansing.
We begin with that breaking news out of Ottawa tonight. Nearly 3 months after David Johnston was appointed special rapporteur looking into foreign interference in Canadian elections, he's calling it quits. In a letter to the Prime Minister, Johnston blames partisan politics, and there's no question his presence has become very political. The question now, with Johnston gone, what happens to the investigation? The announcement came late on a Friday and is a surprise to many. Rafi Boudjikanian has the reaction that's rolling in.
David Johnston just days ago faced opposition MPs demanding his resignation.
I will continue to invite disagreement on my recommendations, but will not be deterred from completing my work.
That changed late Friday with a letter to the Prime Minister. My objective was to help build trust in our democratic institutions, he wrote, but he added, given the highly partisan atmosphere around my appointment and work, my leadership has had the opposite effect. I am therefore tendering my resignation.
It's really unfortunate that the Prime Minister, when faced with the opportunity to have someone truly independent lead a public, transparent inquiry, that he selected someone that was a family friend.
From the moment he was appointed special rapporteur to look into foreign interference in Canadian elections, Conservatives criticized what they called Johnston's close relationship with Justin Trudeau and his family.
Fire this rapporteur and call a public inquiry now.
David Johnston is a man of integrity.
Last month, Johnston recommended public hearings, not the public inquiry the opposition wants. That's when all opposition parties, led by the NDP, voted they had lost confidence in him.
I think it's important for Mr. Trudeau now to respect that parliamentary vote as well.
Trudeau appointed Johnston in response to political pressure after reporting by Global News and the Globe and Mail alleged the Chinese government was interfering in Canadian elections, favoring Liberal candidates and targeting opposition MPs who were critical of Beijing.
What justification exists to not move forward with a public inquiry at this point?
This could be a chance for a reset, says this national security expert.
What we need to do is understand precisely, and to an extent we already do, but for the to understand precisely how this is affecting diaspora communities.
Johnston's parting note includes a recommendation for someone to continue the work he started, ideally with an all-party consensus. The government says it will talk to the opposition. It's unclear how much they'll listen if an inquiry is not an option. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Ottawa.
And our chief political correspondent, Rosemary Barton, is here. And Rosie, why is this happening now?
Ian, it does seem to be really a buildup of political pressure that has forced Johnston to quit. Let's be clear, this is the last thing he wanted to do. Before this even started, there were people around him said, don't take the job. But he did because he really believes in public service. That's what he told me just a few weeks ago. What he didn't obviously expect, or maybe even understand, was how the opposition parties were going to respond to him, attack his reputation, whether it be those connections to the Trudeau family, though exaggerated in some cases, his decision not to hold a public inquiry, to even raising some questions about his own report when he gave testimony this week. He was damaged by outside criticism and by some of his own choices, and it was increasingly untenable.
Take us through what's next for the investigation, but also politically.
First, let's make it clear, Ian, that this is a political win for the opposition, for sure. Even if some of the tactics used to undermine Johnston were questionable. None of them believe that he still had the credibility to do this job. And the question now is, how does this issue of foreign interference actually get examined so Canadians can have some confidence in how this is being managed and prevented? The government says it is looking at next steps and who can best lead that work, but has the government learned any lessons here about finding someone who will be acceptable to all parties, consulting other parties? Is a public inquiry on the table now? And perhaps most importantly for Canadians, can any political party put aside the partisanship that took down David Johnston in order to deal with the serious issue of foreign interference in a serious way?
All right. Thanks, Rosie. Hope your cold gets better quickly.
Thanks, Ian.
Now to the investigation into Donald Trump. Tonight, a newly unsealed criminal indictment is revealing a long list of allegations. The former U.S. president is facing 37 criminal counts related to the apparent mishandling of his country's most closely guarded secrets. Katie Simpson takes us through this new evidence.
Investigators found boxes of documents in an easily accessible ballroom, an extravagant bathroom with a chandelier in the Mar-a-Lago club, and materials sloppily strewn across a floor, including documents for the Five Eyes Security Alliance only, of which Canada is a member. A small glimpse into the evidence in this historic and explosive case.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone.
Donald Trump and his personal aide, Walt Nauta, are facing a total of 38 federal charges, including the willful retention of documents, conspiracy to obstruct justice, and corruptly concealing a document. In the unsealed indictment, prosecutors allege Trump had documents on defense and weapons capabilities of both the United States and foreign countries, nuclear programs, and plans for possible retaliation in response to a foreign attack.
Our laws that protect national defense information are critical to the safety and security of the United States.
Trump is also accused of refusing to return documents, suggesting materials be hidden or destroyed, with his aide allegedly moving boxes to avoid detection. Evidence gathered at Trump's New Jersey golf club suggests he knew the materials were restricted, including a discussion of one paper with individuals without security clearance. An audio recording of the incident says Trump described a plan of attack document. He called it highly confidential and secret, and that he also said, "As president, I could have declassified it, and now I can't. This is still a secret." Trump says he's innocent and claims this investigation is politically motivated.
We can't let this continue to go on because it's ripping our country to shreds. We have such big problems, and this shouldn't be one of them. It's a hoax.
The indictment is prompting at least one of Trump's political challengers to say he should no longer seek the Republican presidential nomination.
The campaign does not need this distraction. He doesn't need the distraction of a campaign. And so that's the reason I say it. Obviously, he's not going to do it.
Katie, Trump will appear in court on Tuesday in Miami. What are we expecting?
Added security precautions are being put in place and expect some protesters to likely show up. The judge overseeing this case was actually appointed by Trump, and in the past, she has ruled in his favor. The charges are incredibly serious, and Trump is actually using his indictment to fundraise, just like he did when he was arrested in New York. His legal team is having a bit of a last-minute shakeup as well. Hours before the indictment was unsealed, two of his key lawyers, they quit.
And take us through the reaction from Trump allies and what this means for the 2024 presidential race.
Some Republicans in Congress who support him are doing what they can to continue to surround him. The Republican chair of the House Judiciary Committee wants to investigate the investigators. One far-right congressman went so far on social media calling an eye for an eye, saying this has reached a, quote, war phase.
Thank you, Katie. Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is stepping down as MP. It comes after he got a preview of a report looking into his so-called Partygate scandal. The investigation concluded he misled Parliament about lockdown-breaking parties at Downing Street, and it recommended a 10-day suspension from Parliament. Now, that would have been enough to trigger a by-election for his seat, so instead he chose to step down. In his resignation letter, Johnson accused the inquiry of trying to drive him out. Now to the wildfire situation here in Canada and a new evacuation order tonight for thousands in Alberta, including the town of Edson. And further west, here in BC, another fire has forced more than 2,000 people from the community of Tumbler Ridge from their homes. This video is now being shared around the world as the latest example of an already destructive and terrifying fire season for many across Canada. The ingredients of extreme fire behavior now all too familiar across this country. Dry, hot air, driven by strong winds, pushing a raging wall of flames dangerously close to where people live. Seen here just 10 kilometers from Tumbler Ridge, and tonight it's even closer. There are more than a dozen out-of-control wildfires in BC, but Tumbler Ridge faces the most immediate threat. The community is in the province's northeast, not far from Dawson Creek. And Dawson Creek is where Renee Filipponi is now, along with evacuees, hoping that a desperate firefighting effort is enough to save their community.
Aggressive, extreme, and intense. The West Kiskatinaw River wildfire moved fast and doubled in size overnight. Residents of Tumbler Ridge went from seeing smoke in the distance to an evacuation order in just hours Thursday. More than 2,000 fled to nearby communities. Angela Zimmer quickly picked up her 3-year-old twins from daycare and tried to explain what was happening.
So I actually showed them where the smoke was and what that meant, that there was a big fire coming. And they did this on their own accord. They started calling it a monster. And the firefighters and the fire trucks are going to go fight the monster.
She is watching updates closely, thinking about the community she loves.
I know that we could start our lives over elsewhere, but I really don't want to lose my home.
They have friends to stay with. Not everyone is so lucky.
I slept in my vehicle last night. The kids slept in the car with me, so there were 6 of us with 2 dogs and 2 cats in that SUV.
Fire crews and city staff who stayed behind shared this video of the community, and there is some cautious optimism.
Hopefully that wind will shift earlier than it is forecast to, but in the meantime, the area of concern continues to be the community of Tumbler Ridge.
This is the second time this year Dawson Creek has welcomed evacuees fleeing fires.
The most important is we get everybody healthy and we get them out of there. I mean, people can't be replaced, objects can.
There are also concerns about prehistoric artifacts. Thousands visit Tumbler Ridge every year to see the bones and fossilized footprints here. It's been recognized by UNESCO as a site of international significance. From BC's Premier, words of warning for everyone in the province about a fire season already off to an early and dangerous start.
Please use caution so that we can try our best to avoid a catastrophic fire season here in the province.
So, Renee, from what you've heard there, what are firefighters up against?
Well, crews are staying in Tumbler Ridge, working to prevent this fire from jumping over a road, which is acting as this key barrier protecting the community. There is hope the winds will shift and the town will be spared, but this fire has been unpredictable. It moved so quickly because of the dry conditions, the flammable spruce, and the winds, and it's also exhibited some extreme fire behavior, which means it is moving and growing in all directions. Ian?
Renee Filipponi in Dawson Creek, British Columbia, tonight. Thank you. Beyond BC, thousands remain displaced as dozens of fires burn out of control across multiple provinces.
We have around 140 fires all over Quebec. We're fighting almost 40 of them.
Quebec, the source of so much of the smoke that darkened the skies all the way down to Washington, D.C. this week, is still struggling. The fires have forced more than 13,000 from their homes. But hundreds of firefighters are arriving from around the world, boosting the effort on the ground. With the evacuation of Edson, there are now at least 10,000 forced from their homes in Alberta. In Nova Scotia, many of the 4,000 remaining fire evacuees were allowed to return, though not everyone has a home to come back to. In parts of Ontario and Quebec, that dangerous haze is clearing, but many are worried they could see more wildfires smoke more often. Philip Lee Shannock shows us how some are starting to prepare.
In the city nicknamed the Big Smoke, there's a lot less of it in the air. So Environment Canada lifted its special air quality advisory for the city and much of southwestern Ontario for now.
At least there will be some temporary relief in terms of looking at poor air quality. However, the fires are still burning, so it can happen again.
Many, especially those with elderly parents and young children, worried when the skies look like this.
There's not really a grade
understanding of like how much risk you're really exposing like little ones to by being outside in the smoke.
The air quality right now is 3 out of 10 or good, but those at risk aren't taking any chances.
Smog in the air.
This week, this pharmacist noticed some customers preparing for a season of smoke.
Over the last 2 days, we've noticed a bit of an uptick in terms of patients that typically weren't taking inhalers were suddenly taking inhalers. And we also noticed a demand for N95 masks, which we haven't seen in months.
Health Canada says these kinds of concerns are new to this region of the country.
Now, I think that caught a lot of people sort of off guard, especially in, Ontario, in the Toronto area. Normally, these places don't get wildfire smoke events like this. This is way more common in the West.
Canada's wildfire behavior has been impacted by climate change.
It's not an American problem.
According to this author, and that's affecting millions.
Metaphorically speaking and literally speaking, we are all downwind. At some point, we are all going to be touched by the impacts, the hazards and the risks that various different regions face.
While mudslides and hurricanes are more localized, he says clouds of smoke traveling hundreds, even thousands of kilometers are harder to ignore. Philip Lishanok, CBC News, Toronto.
So what exactly is in that wildfire smoke and just how risky is it? A little later, I'll speak to a couple of experts who also give us tips on how to stay safe. Canada's tight job market is showing a tiny crack. The unemployment rate has risen for the first time since last August. According to Statistics Canada, unemployment increased to 5.2% in May. That's up from 5% from the previous month. Overall, 17,000 jobs were lost. Nisha Patel now on what effect more numbers like those could have on interest rates.
For months, there's been no sign of a slowdown in Canada's labor market. But in May, it was harder for young people to find a job as companies posted fewer summer positions.
What we're hearing from a lot of students is just that they're not finding the work that is going to help them make the ends meet.
And for recent grads like Ahil Jawani, it's an uncertain time. He just lost his job in tech, a sector that's seen big cuts lately.
I was in shock. It's because I've never been laid off before. It was my first time.
He hopes his job hunt won't last too long.
I'm pretty optimistic about my opportunities. I think when one door closes, another opens.
These guys are in the bar here.
Many businesses like hotels and restaurants do have jobs available. Those employers say the country's intense labor shortage has started to ease.
So compared to last year, we're seeing a big difference. There's a big change. What we are noticing, we are seeing people come to the doors asking for work.
A signal that higher interest rates are having an impact as people spend less and businesses pull back on hiring.
Do you think that this is sort of the beginning of a trend?
I do think that we're going to see weaker employment growth as we go forward.
Though with more than 800,000 job openings across the country, some job seekers continue to have the upper hand.
We're still, I would argue, in a relatively tight labor market with a relatively low unemployment rate.
These are all factors the Bank of Canada is watching closely.
It's not that we don't like kind of a labor market where there's jobs for anyone, it just mustn't be over excessive. And right now, there's just a little bit too much.
The tight labor market is one reason the central bank raised interest rates this week. Some experts say even with this weaker jobs report, they expect another interest rate hike in July. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
WestJet is shutting down its budget airline, Swoop. The company made the announcement as part of its new contract with the Pilots Association. The low-cost carrier was launched 5 years ago. It offered heavily discounted rates with few frills for passengers. WestJet said no current bookings will be affected. By late October, all Swoop employees will have moved to WestJet. Outrage is growing over the transfer of one of Canada's most notorious serial killers to a medium security prison, with many pointing to a gap in the law that leaves victims' families in the dark.
I'm angry about it because I think there's more emphasis on the criminal's rights than there are on the victim's rights.
The change some have been pushing for years. Next. It hasn't been easy breathing for many Canadians this week.
It's worse than I thought.
We asked the experts what you can do to protect yourself. and a very special meal for some firefighters.
I don't think they've ever had lobster while out fighting fires before.
Saying thanks with a little Nova Scotian hospitality. We're back in 2. A lawyer for the families of Paul Bernardo's victims is demanding the serial killer be returned to a maximum security prison. Families blame a gap in the law for failing to provide enough warning about the transfer. As Ashley Burke shows us, calls to change that law are growing louder.
For Judy Crocker, news of Paul Bernardo's transfer to a medium security prison hit home.
I'm angry about it because I think there's more emphasis on the criminals' rights than there are on the victims' rights.
A decade ago, the man who murdered her daughter, Julie, was quietly transferred to a medium security facility. She only found out afterwards. Crocker called for change so it wouldn't happen to other families too.
I realized 10 years later, absolutely nothing has changed. And all I could think of was that the poor families.
I mean, they were in real shock. And you could feel, the despair and the anguish.
The lawyer representing the families of Bernardo's victims say they only found out about his transfer the day it happened.
Clearly, the timing is so that nobody can do anything about it.
The Victims of Crime Ombudsperson says it's a systemic problem, and his office has recommended legislative change for a decade.
We'd like to see, in all cases of transfers, that victims in advance are provided the opportunity to share their concerns.
Right now, victims may get advance notice if an offender is being transferred to a minimum security institution. The same isn't true for a medium security prison. Some say it's because there's no change in risk to the public.
Maximum and medium security are identical in terms of perimeter security, in terms of anyone trying to escape. The difference between max and medium is in the internal daily life. You have a bit more freedom of movement.
This is a picture of Julie, who is in the middle.
Crocker said her daughter's killer should have never been moved, and she would have tried to stop it if she knew in advance.
To me, if you're convicted of murders or any other heinous crimes, I believe that you should serve your sentence in a maximum for the rest of your life.
The Minister of Public Safety has said that he's waiting for the review into Bernardo's transfer to be complete before considering taking action. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Smoke from wildfires this week transformed city skylines and made the air hard to breathe for some.
I'm coughing more than I would.
I'm coughing like every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Coming up, how dangerous is the air to your health and how can you protect yourself? Expert advice. Plus, a mother loses her teenage son to a suspected overdose.
Your kid can be the perfect kid, never leaves the home, and he can still be a drug addict.
A CBC News investigation looks into a dangerous drug sold online. The National takes you deeper into the stories shaping our world. Next. Gray, brown, orange. The skies this week over parts of Quebec, Ontario, and the U.S. Northeast sporting some alarming colors. Raging wildfires to the north, sending smoke through the region, making the air risky to breathe for tens of millions of people.
I'm coughing more than I would.
I'm coughing like every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Our eyes are watery all the time, and it's really horrible.
I thought I would just wear a mask, but it's worse than I thought.
That plunging air quality was raising worries about how much more smoke this wildfire season could bring and what that could mean for everyone's health. To talk about that, we're joined now by air quality expert Lindsay Marr, who's an environmental engineering professor at Virginia Tech, and Dr. Chunwai Chow. She's the director of respirology at U of T and a lung transplant physician. Professor Marr, let's start with you. As you saw the air quality readings and warnings roll in, what was your reaction?
It was pretty shocking because this level of pollution is really unprecedented for the eastern U.S. We've seen fires like this affect air quality in the western U.S., but really never before in the eastern U.S.
And what were the numbers and what did they mean?
Well, in the U.S., we measure air pollution in terms of air quality index, or AQI, and the number 100 is kind of borderline, and the numbers were 400, which again is really much higher than we've ever seen. In Canada, they use a different scale, 1 to 10. They call it the air quality health index, and so on that it would be a 10 plus.
Dr. Chow, you're based in the Toronto area. How serious have the health risks been over the last few days?
Oh, I think it has been serious, and I think this is the first time that I know of in Toronto where the weather forecast was smoke. And from the point of view of people who are elderly, people with chronic lung diseases or chronic cardiac diseases, this really did pose a significant health risk for these folks.
I think, Doctor, parents in particular, parents of young children, were anxious in places like Toronto, and I'm sure all the places hit by smoke over the last few days. What about the risks to children?
The risk for children and at both sort of age range is quite high, because they're the ones who are much more susceptible to the adverse effects from cough, respiratory symptoms, and for kids in particular, the effect on potentially harming their lung function over time. I think the decision for a lot of school boards to cancel recess and not allow the children to play outside was a really wise decision.
Professor Marr, it's easy for those of us who aren't experts to hear these warnings and know that there were forest fires and just figure that's smoke from the fires, but what was in the air that was creating the problems?
The biggest problem is the particles in the wildfire smoke. So, when there's a fire, you get kind of gases and particles that are formed. And really, it's these particles that are from, they mostly have carbon in them, kind of like what you would see if you had a campfire. But it's at really, really high levels, like higher than we've seen before. And that's the concern.
And I'm asking this question not knowing the answer, which is a dangerous thing to do, I suppose. But let me just ask you, did it get mixed in with other things like, car exhaust, industrial pollution, that sort of thing? Was that adding to the soup up there?
Yeah, it was a big soup, and so the wildfire smoke did add to what was already there, although because wildfire smoke is blowing in from these more kind of remote areas, then some of that area is coming in and pushing out some of the kind of industrial and vehicle emissions. But it's all together there in this big mix. Obviously, the wildfire smoke is really the dominant thing right now.
I'm going to ask each of you this question because we're going to see this smoke again. I think there's no doubt of that, no matter where our viewers in Canada are living. So maybe, Dr. Chow, I'll begin with you. What advice do you have for people the next time this kind of haze and smoke sets in?
The best protection is to actually avoid it. So not exercise outside, spend your time indoors, find a place where there's air conditioning, where good filtration. So HEPA filters where you will not be exposed to those particulate matters that was talked about earlier.
And Professor Marr, pick up on that. If you can, a lot of us, closing windows and doing our best to keep the bad air outside, but I think you have some specific guidelines for people.
Yeah, certainly indoors, if you have a portable air cleaner like a HEPA air filter or purifier, definitely you want to run that on high, keep your windows closed. If you have air conditioner, a window air conditioner, you can run that, make sure the filter is properly installed in that. And some of them have a setting that allows you to switch between recirculated and outdoor air. You want recirculated air for sure. And then you probably want to minimize your use of the bathroom and kitchen exhaust fans, because if you run those, then you're pulling in air from outside to replace some of the air that they're sucking out. And then if the smoke is still bothering you indoors, I would recommend wearing an N95 or KN95, a really high quality mask that can help protect you and prevent you from breathing in those particles.
Excellent advice. Nice analysis from both of you. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
The impacts of all these wildfires aren't just physical, they can be emotional as well. And that can be difficult for children to navigate. Kayla Hounsel shows us how some parents are tackling some tough conversations.
Do you need some help? You're so strong.
Stephanie Coffin says her family is finding strength in their community.
There
Her 4-year-old daughter, Charlie, attended a daycare destroyed by wildfire.
Do you know what happened to the building?
It broke down.
Yeah, it's not there anymore.
The family was also forced out of their home, wondering whether it was even still standing.
I had to let her know, like, you might see some of your friends today, and just like us, a lot of them can't go home, and some of them don't have a home anymore to go to. And we just had a moment and talked about that and kind of hugged it out, because she also felt a lot of heavy emotions around that news.
Whoa, I need to go.
Fire broke out in the Halifax area nearly 2 weeks ago. It's now under control, but 150 homes are destroyed.
Sometimes parents maybe shy away from having the conversation and they sort of think, I don't want to bring it up because maybe my child's not thinking about it. It's likely they're thinking about it.
This clinical psychologist says having the conversation is important, even if the child doesn't want to right away.
I think being able to sort of put a flag there and then come back to that, keeping the door open, because things change with time.
Last night we were up for an hour and a half. He was just having night terrors.
This family lives in the area where the fire started. Routine is out of whack for both their baby and toddler.
Lots of emotions. He's very, this morning was the first day in 11 days we dropped him off at daycare, and he screamed and cried, and he doesn't ever do that.
Older kids are having a tough time too. There was a little shock and disbelief and then a lot of tears, obviously. Daphne Slay's 11-year-old also attended a daycare that was destroyed. It's not always easy when you have so many unknowns because you'd like to have the answers when you start talking to a child, but we've had to tell them what we know and what we don't know, and that either way we're going to figure some of this stuff out. Oh, nice one. A difficult conversation, but one experts say may prevent further harm. Kayla Hounsel, CBC News, Halifax.
And you can get live updates on wildfires and wildfire smoke on our new CBC News climate dashboard. You can also search by city, see local temperatures and how they compare to historical trends. That's all at cbc.ca/climate. Coming up, a warning about illicit drugs sold online and delivered to Canadian homes.
These online monsters that are selling this stuff, they know what they're doing.
In the aftermath of a teen's death, questions about how it could have happened. A CBC News investigation is next. A grieving family in Peterborough, Ontario has a warning for parents. It's about the ease of obtaining an illicit drug online, a drug that may have played a role in the death of their son. Despite it being shipped illegally within Canada, a CBC News investigation found authorities seem powerless to stop it. Jonathan Gatehouse shows us why.
Growing up, Aidan Tate always found and brought joy.
Because he was so adventurous.
His parents hoped that would continue forever. But now, in the wake of his death at age 19 from a suspected drug overdose, they have a warning for other families.
The drug dealers are online. They're not just at a party. They're not just at school. Your kid can be the perfect kid, never leaves the home, and he can still be a drug addict because he can order it right off online, just like candy, and come right to your door.
Aidan died in early March, a tragedy so raw and recent that toxicology results are still pending. But authorities believe they know part of the answer, a benzodiazepine he purchased off the internet.
And the coroner just showed me the website and told me, it's not even the dark web, it's just the web.
Bromazepam was never approved for medical use, yet the powerful sedative is being sold and shipped openly in Canada, often proving deadly when combined with other drugs like opioids, because it both depresses the respiratory system and counters the effects of antidotes like naloxone.
These online monsters that are selling this stuff, they know what they're doing.
Benzodiazepines, illicit or prescribed, were detected in the blood samples of almost half of all overdose fatalities in Ontario last year, helping kill 1,170 people. The figure was closer to 28% in British Columbia, still another 643 deaths. But no part of the country has been immune.
It's like playing roulette with your life.
Peterborough's medical officer of health issued a warning about bromazepam after the drug was linked to several recent deaths, including Aidan's. He's concerned about easy online access to the controlled substance.
I couldn't tell you exactly how potent one or two or several of these pills are, but the risks, especially if used with fentanyl, would go up significantly. It can definitely increase sedation and increase the likelihood of somebody experiencing an overdose.
Type the right combination of words into a search engine and dozens of websites pop up. Bromazolam is available in pill or powder form in branded packaging for as little as $100, shipped right to your door via Canada Post. Many of the sites appear legitimate on the surface, but the Canadian phone numbers and addresses are fake.
The number you have called is not assigned. Please check the number and try the call again.
And it's all illegal, something the sellers aren't even bothering to hide.
And then a real tell. The website asks, is there a risk of seizure? Absolutely not. It's impossible, they say. All mail shipped inside Canada does not go through customs, therefore domestic mail cannot be seized.
Domain registration and server data points to the sites actually being in China, where chemical manufacturers offer bromazolam by the pallet load. All part of China's open, globe-spanning trade in illicit substances, says this expert.
They're like nesting dolls, in which there's one company inside another, inside another. So they're not all known. You need a large political will in China to be addressing this chemical industry. And there's no apparent sign that the Chinese are targeting this chemical industry.
Health Canada was alerted to the website that sold Aiden the bromazolam, and it was quickly taken offline. But months later, dozens of others remain open for business. We asked the department for an interview with someone who could explain why. In a statement, Health Canada noted that the sites are often hosted outside the country, out of their control.
It's just my world, so beautiful.
All of it cold comfort to Aiden Tate's parents.
People need to know. You might think it won't happen to you, because you know what? I'm sure there was a day that I thought it could never happen to me either. But it can happen to everyone. And everybody has to be on the alert. Every mother and father needs to be on alert that this can happen so easily to their kid.
The family Aiden left behind now hoping he will be remembered for how he lived rather than how he died, as captured in this tribute video by his father.
Aiden now lives in love and light. God bless our beautiful boy. We are all so infinitely fortunate to have had the honor to share this life with him, regardless of how brief.
Jonathan, so if this drug is being shipped from within Canada, how's it getting here?
It's hard to say. It could be that it's being smuggled in cargo shipments or via international mail, which is how fentanyl used to arrive. But after the U.S. government pressured China to crack down on its chemical industry in 2019, a new pipeline opened up. Now the precursors for that drug are being exported to Mexico, where the cartels make the fentanyl and send it north, often cut with benzodiazepines like bromazolam. What is clear, however, is that the RCMP, Canada Border Services, and Canada Post are having little to no success in stopping it.
All right. Thanks, Jonathan. Coming up, 20 years ago, they made history. Canada's first legally married same-sex couple reflects on that moment and share their concerns for the future. Plus,
texted a friend, Mike, and so right away I had 25 to 30 lobsters.
giving back to international firefighters, a Nova Scotia community's act of gratitude in our moment.
We are seeing NASA astronaut Steve Bowen egress the airlock.
A successful spacewalk to install new solar panels on the International Space Station. They should produce about 30% more electricity than the old ones. This was Steve Bowen's 9th spacewalk and Woody Hoberg's first. And the first same-sex couple to legally marry in Canada is celebrating a big milestone this weekend, their 20th anniversary. But as Philippe de Montigny shows us, decades after they made history, they're still concerned about the future.
20 years ago. Michael Leshner and his husband, Mike Stark, dig through old photos and newspaper clippings. On June 10th, 2003, the Ontario Court of Appeal ruled in favor of same-sex marriage.
When I got the decision, it was just exhilaration.
The Michaels to be lawfully married spouses.
A few hours later, the two lovers exchanged their vows and rings in front of dozens of microphones and cameras.
It really sunk in how historic it was. You know, we knew it would be big, but we never really envisioned it would be as big as it was.
This iconic photo made international headlines. The Michaels are often seen as the trailblazers of marriage equality in Canada, but another same-sex couple actually received the Ontario government's seal of approval 2 years earlier.
It was a very holy mistake, I would say.
Reverend Sherry DiNovo officiated that wedding, marrying Paola Barrero and Blanca Mejias. DiNovo applied for a marriage certificate using a bands form that does not require the spouse's gender to be specified.
There was nothing on the bands form that said male or female, and of course it had Latin names, so Paula, P-A-U-L-A, and the clerk clearly thought that was a man's name.
The Ontario Registrar's Office in Thunder Bay issued the certificate by mistake, but never revoked their license.
So in a sense, the law caught up to us.
It only became legally recognized after we won.
But the Michaels believe it was the June 10th decision that ultimately paved the way for the legalization of same-sex marriage nationwide.
Nays contre 133, 133.
Canada legalized same-sex marriage federally in 2005, becoming the fourth country to do so.
When we get those rights that are recognized, you can't take it for granted, ever.
This former judge helped update the legal definition of marriage in Ontario 2 decades ago, now seeing hundreds of bills targeting LGBTQ rights across the U.S. He warns against complacency.
You have to be vigilant about protecting those rights and ensuring they're not chipped away. And unfortunately, that's what's happening right now.
There's something wrong here.
For the executive director of EGAL Canada, an LGBTQ advocacy group, that political climate is seeping into Canada as well.
There's violence at drag story time. And we know that there's violence and hatred being perpetrated against our trans communities.
Back in their Toronto loft, the married couple share those worries.
Concerned watching what's going on in the States.
It's really quite scary.
The 65 and 75-year-old are passing the torch.
It's a younger person's fight. We will always lend our voices
to a new generation fighting for their rights. Philippe de Montigny, CBC News, Toronto.
Leaving their homes behind and risking their lives, these are the 17 American firefighters who have been stationed in Shelburne, Nova Scotia. When the community found out one of them was celebrating his 60th birthday, they found a way to say thank you with, what else, a lobster dinner. And that act of gratitude is our moment.
There are 17 firefighters from the northeastern United States who were stationed at the arena. They're definitely a great bunch of people. On Monday, on June 5th, one of the female firefighters came up to me and said that her colleague, Kevin, was celebrating his 60th birthday that day. His birthday, June 5th, is the same birthday as my goddaughter, who unfortunately passed away in 2016. Something that we always try to do in her memory is do acts of kindness. So right away, I texted a friend, Mike, and so right away I had 25 to 30 lobsters. They were super happy to have lobster. I don't think they've ever had lobster while out fighting fires before. Yeah, everyone is just so thankful. People are just chomping at the bit, ready to do something positive and to help in any way. You drive around the town of Shelburne and there's signs saying, "Thank you, firefighters." Everybody's saying and staying Nova Scotia strong and getting through it together as an entire community.
As we saw earlier in the news, people on the move evacuated from their homes in various parts of the country. A tough time in the middle of wildfires, but certainly, a message of solidarity and cooperation and hope when these firefighters come in from other countries. I saw some from Australia in the Edmonton airport. We saw the video of the South African firefighters and then the Americans in Shelburne. That is the National for June 9th. I hope you join me Sunday for Cross Country Checkup on CBC Radio and News Network. We'll look at the soaring cost of rent. And later that night, I'll be right here for the National. I hope you have a nice, safe weekend.